Welcome you back to the Patrick Netherton Show right here on 1130 The Tiger. He's Rogers Hampton. I'm Patrick Netherton. And a man who had to come into work on his day off. You know, you try to take a day to just hang out and relax by the pool or, you know, whatever you do, go get a po' boy or some oysters or whatever, and then Michael Thomas signs a $100 million contract and you got to work. It's Jeff Duncan from The Athletic. I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry you had to work today, my friend.
Yeah, you know how it goes, Patrick. I mean, Murphy's Law, right? Had a nice day off plan, was going to get all this stuff done. But look, it beats digging ditches. I'm not complaining.
No, and look, you one of the things we talked to you basically right last time we spoke to you, right as the news was broken about the Times-Picayune, and it was being taken over, and you know, a lot of very good journalists were you know shown the door. We all knew you'd land on your feet very quickly, and you did with The Athletic. I keep telling everyone, Jeff, that The Athletic is an amazing buy because they keep stockpiling really great talent in terms of writers, and you're just adding to the list, brother, and I'm happy for you.
Thank you very much. I'm really excited. It's an amazing venture. I don't know if our industry has seen anything quite like it. Over 300 writers now. We just hired 50 reporters and editors in Europe to cover the Premier League and soccer over across the pond. And the roster of people, you're right, that continue to join. I think if you're into sports writing and it's quality stuff. That's the reason I went there, Patrick, is that they really believe in quality over quantity. So you're not going to get a lot of the clickbait stuff, just stuff trying to drive eyeballs to traffic because we're subscription-based. It's all about delivering to the reader. And it reminds me so much of my old days at the Times-Picayune where that's really all we cared about was trying to please our subscribers, and it's really refreshing. And so far, so good. I'm really having a good time.
Well, you're not the only one having a good time. Michael Thomas is having a pretty good time these days, signs the richest wide receiver contract in history. You know, we all knew that he was going to get paid. We knew it was just a matter of time. Are you a little surprised that it is this much, that it is the richest contract in you know, for a receiver in history, most guaranteed money for a non-quarterback on the offensive side?
Yeah, you know, it is a little bit out of character for the Saints to do that. I know they've given nice contracts to Marcus Colston in the past. Jimmy Graham got a nice deal when he was the tight end. But they've, for the most part, not paid their perimeter skill position players and let them move on. Guys like Reggie Bush and Darren Sproles, they traded Brandon Cooks. I mean, there's so many good players. Case in point this past year with Mark Ingram. But Mike Thomas is a little bit of a different breed. You know, he's easily the best receiver that's been on this team in the Breeze Peyton era. He's 26 years old. He's in his prime. He's incredibly reliable and durable. Not only does he never drop a ball hardly, he plays every game, almost every snap. He's only missed one game in his 3-year career. And he has a really, uncommon work ethic and drive. So he's the kind of guy that's not going to rest on his laurels if he gets a big payday like this. He's not going to turn locker room cancer and go, Antonio Brown on the team or Odell Beckham Jr. It's a safe bet, Mike Thomas is. So if you're ever going to do it for a player, he's the kind of guy you do it for.
Yeah, and do you think I don't know that people appreciate his physicality enough, Jeff, because he doesn't appear when you see him. He doesn't look that big, but he plays so physical, and his ability to, even against, bump coverage, guys are hanging all off of him, his ability to shield guys, to use his body is really remarkable because he is not, he's not a Larry Fitzgerald running around out there.
No, that's a great point. And look, he's not that fast. I mean, he ran a 4.57 40, which is fast for you and me, but for an NFL wide receiver, that's pretty pedestrian. He's not going to win a lot of, 100-yard dashes. So he makes his living on those intermediate routes, stick routes, crossing patterns, slants, a lot of heavy contact phone booth catches where you've got to have great, strong hands, you got to use your body to shield the defender, and you got to be physical at the point of attack to get off press coverage. And that's what he excels in, and that's why he's been rewarded the way he has, because everyone that plays the Saints knows this. he gets double teamed all the time. And not only does he continue to produce, but he opens up things for the rest of the offense. So I understand why the Saints were wanting to reward him. And I also think it's important to send a message to the rest of the locker room. All these other young stars on the team, Kamara, Ryan Ramczyk, Marshawn Lattimore, Sheldon Rankin, they're all going to come due here for contracts in the next year or two. And it's important to let them know if you do the right thing on and off the field, you're going to get compensated.
Talking to Jeff Duncan from The Athletic down in New Orleans. Jeff, are you a little surprised at the sort of grumbling and sour grapes that we're hearing a little bit of from Mark Ingram?
No, I didn't really read it as much as sour grapes as much as I did. Look, he's a very prideful guy, and I think it's natural to give what he gave to this organization and to feel disappointed that they couldn't get a deal worked out. So, but I think his anger or any disappointment's misplaced because I really believe his representation is the one that caused that problem. The Saints wanted Mark Ingram back, and they extended a couple offers to him, and I think they just overplayed their hand and thought he would have a bigger free agent market. And I think looking back on it, he's disappointed how it played out. But I don't think he should blame the Saints or anyone involved. I think his blame should rest with his agents, who I think miscalculated what he'd be worth on the market.
It's been a bad year for New Orleans player agents, hasn't it? Pelicans, Saints. It seems like player agents have been kind of in the news a little bit this year for New Orleans franchises.
Yeah, really good point, and it's so important, I think, to get someone that has a good working relationship with the organization, and sometimes it backfires on you. It certainly did for Anthony Davis, in my opinion. He ended up in L.A. where he wanted, but I still think that he has a real rare opportunity here in New Orleans. And I think David Griffin, what he's done, I know we're talking Saints, but what he's done in the last 3 months has just been remarkable. I have not seen, in my 20 years here in New Orleans, and I know the Pelicans, Hornets have not been here that long, but I have not seen as much enthusiasm and excitement for a basketball season as the upcoming Pelican season, and you have to credit David Griffin with what he's done to generate that enthusiasm.
Yeah, and we'll talk Pelicans before too long. Don't worry. We'll I have real concerns about Zion Williamson. I think I'm the only guy in the world that does, but I do. But we'll talk about that at another time. All right, so
sure.
Training camp's going on. Any look, with a veteran team like the Saints, it's hard for surprises to show up, but anything that's been a surprise so far in training camp, a guy that we didn't expect, someone that popped up undrafted that's really made some noise?
Well, I mean, it's been pretty well documented that these young receivers, Emmanuel Butler, the undrafted rookie out of Northern Arizona, and a former LSU player, Cyril Grayson Jr., right here out of New Orleans, a real speedy guy. I think their progress and what they've shown in camp and in the offseason is what spurred the Saints to release Cam Meredith, a guy they made a healthy investment in, and a guy who's had a couple of good seasons in the NFL. I think they just felt like he wasn't going to beat those guys out. They've shown enough. They've seen enough. They feel good about these young receivers on this team. And it's not just those two. There's a couple other guys that they're very high on. I'll tell you a guy that isn't getting a lot of traction with the local media yet. I think he will soon, is the backup linebacker, Caden Ellis. He was the 7th-round draft pick out of Idaho. He's going to make this team for sure. He's already the backup middle linebacker behind Demario Davis, and they're very high on him. I think he's going to be a future star on this team. He's just a really good all-around athlete. He was a guy who played, I think, some tight end in college, and just a Swiss Army knife on the defensive side of the ball. Is going to be on the field on special teams. And then both of these young backup safeties, C.J. Johnson, Gardner Johnson out of Florida, and Saquon Hampton, I think those guys have played very well and are going to be solid backups at the safety position. And I think it's going to potentially cause some issues for Marcus Williams and Von Bell long term, because if those two guys come on and play well this year as rookies, you can't pay everybody going forward. And if you got two young backups that you like, they may move on from those starting safeties in a couple of years.
Well, Jeff, I got to tell you, my producer is incredibly excited to hear that, because he is the one and only Rogers Hampton, and he has been looking for a reason to get a Saints Hampton jersey. That wasn't just he was doing it out of vanity. Now he has a legitimate reason to have potentially to have a Saints Hampton jersey. He's very excited for this. I just want you to know.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, and he should run out and get one because I think Hampton's been a guy that has flown under the radar here and played very well in camp and looks the part out on the field. So he's definitely going to make this team. It's just a matter of what his ceiling's going to be as a player. We've still got so far to go. I mean, we haven't even played a preseason game yet. So a lot of these players are going to make their mark here in the next few weeks.
Two guys, one on offense and one on defense that I want to spotlight. Jared Cook on the offensive side. Obviously, the Saints were really missing. Ben Watson was great, but then he got hurt, and you could tell they were missing that threat in the middle that Drew Brees loves. Cook, and then on the other side, Davenport. Give me some indication of, is Cook is going to be as good as we think he is, and where is Davenport in terms of getting back into that shape, getting over the injury, and being ready to roll and potentially having more of an effect this year?
Yeah, I think Jerry Cook is going to have a monster year. If you're a fantasy football owner, I would draft him. I really believe he's going to be, as they call, a tight end one in this league. He's so big and so important for this offense because so many teams at the end of last year were double-teaming Mike Thomas, using a couple of players to defend Alvin Kamara, and really the Saints had no other answer when those players got double-teamed. Now you've got Jerry Cook to deal with if you're on defense, and that seam route that Jimmy Graham made his living on is back. He's already developed a rapport with Drew Brees. They look like they've been working together for years. So I think Jared Cook is going to definitely meet those expectations. There's no doubt about it. And then conversely, I think Marcus Davenport, he just looks more confident. He looks stronger. He was a strong player as a rookie. He's added some lower body strength. I don't know what he's going to do pass rush-wise, if he's going to be able to reach that double-digit plateau. He's going to get a lot of single blocks being on the opposite bookend of Cameron Jordan. But I think when Sheldon Rankins comes back, and if he can come back to close to what he was a year ago, this defensive line is going to be special with the way Davenport's coming on to pair with Brown and Cam Jordan and Sheldon Rankins.
Any health issues early in camp to report?
No, not really. Good. I mean, Taron Armstead got nicked up the other day, and he looks like he's fine. Today's a day off, so we really haven't had a chance to get any updates on anybody. But for the most part, knock on wood, this team's remained fairly healthy. Marcus Williams, I guess, is the one guy that we don't know much about. He wasn't at practice again yesterday, starting free safety. So tomorrow morning when they get back on the field, we'll probably be able to get an update from Sean Payton.
Feels good so far. Look, football's almost back, Jeff. We almost made it through the long off season, and we're almost back to getting it going again. I'm very excited, my friend.
Yeah, look, fans should be excited. I mean, this is a really good Saints team. I mean, this might be the best team they've had since I've covered the Saints in the 20 years. I mean, they are loaded. They're deep. They've got stars on both sides of the ball. They've got a great coaching staff. I think that gets overlooked a lot with all the players, but this coaching staff has returned almost entirely intact on both sides of the ball. There's former head coaches on this staff. There's former offensive coordinators that are just position coaches here. This is a very good staff, and I don't think it's going to stay intact much longer because some other organizations are going to come in here and pluck these guys off. But this Saints team, I think, is primed for another Super Bowl run. I'll be shocked if they don't make a deep run again.
Well, you may see Hampton sporting his Hampton jersey and me for that Monday night opener against the Texans because that's Roger's other favorite team. So there might be a road trip in our future. We might be trudging up to level 900 at the press box to say hi at some point.
Hey, that opener is going to be something else. That should be a great game. Houston over here, a team we don't see a lot of. A playoff team. And look, all you need to do is talk David Griffin into trading for Kevin Love on the Pelicans, and then you can get a Pelicans Love jersey, and you guys will be set.
There you go. That's all you need. He's Jeff Duncan from The Athletic. Dunk, thank you so much, brother. And look, try to go enjoy the rest of your day off.
I'm going to do it. Hitting Audubon Park as we speak. Thanks,
Awesome.
guys, for having me, and let's talk again soon.
All right, Jeff Duncan, one of the best. I love Dunk.